5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Are you ready? Get ready. Are you ready? Get ready. Are you ready?
Somewhere Out
Been
There
ready?
podcast.
Are you ready? Get ready.
Somewhere Out There podcast.
It's Somewhere Out There podcast.
Happy October, you guys. It's Somewhere Out There podcast. Been a long absence, but we're back. It's James, your host, your fearless leader over here. I don't want to get in this, that, and the other, but on this episode, we will introduce Mr. Mike the Croc Guy, our lead expert in fitness and bodybuilding, and among other things, crocodiles. We talked to the guy, and he had a lot of intel on the bodybuilding and fitness world, while also into crocodiles, because they call him Mike the Croc Guy for a reason. But on this episode, we're digging deeper as we've ever on the subject. But like always, stay tuned, and here we go. What's up, Mike? How you doing, sir?
I'm doing all right. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. I got my esteemed colleague over here too. My brother, his name's Jonathan. Want to shout out?
Hey, what's going on, man? Nice to meet you.
I hear you.
So yeah, Mike, just wanted to talk to you, man. I mean, anybody. Well, I'm just like, I wanted to interview you for a long time because anybody take a look at you, you look like a bodybuilder. You're a big guy, you're a tough guy, and then once they talk to you, you gotta, you're real nice and stuff. But I just wanted to start off by talking about like how you got into bodybuilding. You said every time we talk to each other, a little snippets here and there. You always talk about your how you used to work out. So that's what I wanted to get into because I mean you're a very knowledgeable guy. Because was it like 2 years ago you started telling me about how to eat, and then you also had an interest in like you know exactly what you know what you're talking about. That's what I wanted to have you on here.
All right. Well, for one, I mean, how I began into it is a long time ago in high school. I started working out, but I wasn't really focused on it. And a friend of mine, a Hispanic gentleman by the name of Mike Cedillo, he was in the Army. He was part-time in the Army, going to college. He's about 5 years older than I am. And he got me interested into it. And I mean, him genetically, he's just genetically phenomenally a well-built dude. I mean, short stature, and it's nothing to do with the ethics of anything, but he's about 5'9". I'm bigger than he is, of course, because I'm 5'11", almost 6 foot, minus the 2 inches they took from my back surgeries, but we can go into that another time. But he was just real phenomenally sound, well-built, proportioned guy. And when I mean well-built, proportioned guy, I mean what they would call the X-frame. Your biceps, your triceps, your arms are the same size as your calves. So if you look at a person, think of going from one point of the X, from one muscle down to the calf muscle, the other muscle on the bicep going down to the calf muscle. That's what they call the X-frame, if no one's understanding that.
Gotcha.
A good proportioned bodybuilder will have those equally the same. And, my friend Mike Cedillo had it. We used to call him Little Conan. I mean, literally, he was, so that's how I began working out. He used to push me to the limits. Like, for example, one thing we learned early on is like your calves, and this all goes in correlation with working out, but running, like an average person will think, well, okay, I'll put 500 pounds on the calf raise machine, and I'll do that, and I'll build up my calves. Well, you ain't gonna build up your calves. And the gentleman that really hit the nail on the head per se would be Schwarzenegger.
There we go.
Because Schwarzenegger said, for example, he was 240 pounds at his top peak, condition and everything. He was 6'2". Every time you make a step, it's like 500 pounds of resistance. So if you're working out with 500 pounds, you're not going to make them things grow. And your calves mind you, your calves you are always in motion every day. Your quads aren't, but your calves are. Quads have a little bit to do with some of it, but maybe if you're running, you're going up a hill, you're dragging something, you're carrying something on your back like if you're in the military. Other than that, your calves do all your work when you're running, hiking, going up, going down, up and down stairs. So in other words, in regards to your calves, as a body part, you're always working them. You're always working them every single day. Do regular, everyday activity. So, getting back to what Schwarzenegger said, you know, he's 240 pounds, times that by 2, you know, I just rounded off to 500 pounds of resistance. It'd be actually 480, but that's where you won't get anywhere. Well, getting back to me and my friend Mike Cedillo, back in the day, I used to run with 40-pound leg weights, and him and I would both run with them, and we'd run and do our cardio exercise, and we'd run until we faint, and we just like pass out on the sidewalk. Damn. And the fun thing is we lived in a ghetto neighborhood, but no one messed with us. We're just, I mean, literally exhausted. And but over that training, I can tell you this much, I built up my calves. I mean, my calves, even my calves now are 20 inches, and I haven't worked out in 5 years. So, I mean, you know, that was the, but then getting back to it, it was like Schwarzenegger's weak point, and, you know, he concentrated on that, and he built them back up. You know, when he, in his earlier years, that's what he said his weak point was. Well, that was never my weak point. My weak point is my arms. My legs are phenomenal as in size-wise, but just my arms. And then I got a long torso, so that complicates things and different things like that. But, you know, so I should use the same principle on my arms, but I guess I didn't.
Now, and let me ask you this, Mike, because I know that like people have their own strategies and their own plans to work out. How do you respond to people that have like this huge kind of complicated workout? Let's say we're focusing on calves, and they got this variety of workouts. They change it up every week. Would you suggest them do something consistent or in variety? Because I know I have talked to friends, or I've seen people, they try different things every single week as opposed to just doing something maybe consistent. What do you tell people that are doing that, or what's your 2 cents on that?
Well, I mean, to me, there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, I will say there's a lot of factors that played. Genetics is one. That's just one factor. You're either born with good genetics or you're not. But as in the working out routine, I mean, to me, a variance, but here's the thing. To me, you got to switch it up because the muscles over time get a memory, and then they're like, oh, I get used to that. Fine, okay, stick 10 more pounds on, okay. And so you do got to change it up. But I think if you change it up too quickly, it doesn't even give it time to respond to that particular movement or exercise that you're doing to get where your goal's at. So in other words, what I'm getting at is this. Let's say you were to do standing calf raises. Me, I would do the first week, I would do calves every other day, just 3 days a week. And then, you know, the last 7th day or wherever, the day of rest, whatever you want to do. But I would do them as in first week, just regular standing calf raises. Second week, do standing calf raises, but with your toes in. Third week, I mean, especially when you're a beginner. Now, you know, you're not supersetting here like you're a bodybuilder and that's your life and that's your whole world. And because if that is, then you'd be doing all 3 of those and then all the time. But but for beginning wise, that's what I would do because it's changing it up, and you're going with your same weight because you still gotta let you gotta tear down the muscle, let it rebuild, and go in the motion again. But the whole thing too, the thing I will majorly emphasize is proper form. Proper form in everything is in fact, I have a bodybuilder friend named James Butler. He won Mr. Texas 1997 and I think 2000 the Masters. He's going to be 63 years old. But needless to say, so he's a trainer. He trains in San Antonio. And he told me that there's just so many different ways you can work out. But the thing is this. One thing, and I agree with him on this, is it's proper form. So you could change up the workout in 5 million different variations, or you could do the same thing. But the main component of the movement is proper form.
Proper form.
So if you don't have proper form, whether you're doing a squat, hack squat, bench press, a clean and press, a lunge, whatever, you don't have proper form, you're not going to be stimulating that muscle right. In fact, something he taught me, and this is good for elderly people, because they should be working out, just whoever will hear this, they need to understand this too. When it comes to the working out, it matters on what you put. It's not like the most heaviest weight and all that. Yes, heavy weight, lifting heavy weight builds mass. Everybody's read that, seen that. You got to consume a lot of protein, food, and adequate like that. But my friend James showed me too. You can have a lighter weight, and you can have proper form, and you can slow down the movement, and it's just as taxing on the muscle fibers, whether they're short twitching or long twitching or whatever. It's just as taxing as if you were to be younger. And for example, you could be bench pressing 400 pounds. You can bench press 180 pounds and make it feel like that 400 pounds by having proper form, and by when you let the bar down, you count 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi, 4 Mississippi, 5 Mississippi, then push off. Normally you push off, you let it go down. Push off, let it go down. Push off, and with heavier weight, I've seen it time and time again. Usually you don't do it slow, you do it quick. Not like you're throwing the weight around, but you just do it quick so you get in a groove, because, you're just mass building right there.
Gotcha.
But what he had showed me was you can, and I've done that, and I've succeeded more that way, and it's safer on your joints and your ligaments.
Do you feel okay, so all that you're saying, somebody does that like routinely, weekly, when they go to the gym? What about cardio, like running and stuff? How much importance is that? Do you think it's the yin? Could it be a yin and yang thing, or do you feel like maybe just weightlifting and like working on the calves, working on your arms? Do you feel that maybe you can just do one thing, or do you have to do two things to get results?
Well, to me, to get results, you have to do two things. I mean, but here's the whole thing: the lifting heavyweight, light weights, whatever. Lifting weights, you only burn so many calories, and you only get your heart rate up so much.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, that's why to me you need cardio. Like a good example, here's going back to Schwarzenegger. Yeah, everybody's going to say, oh, well, he was God. In a sense, he was God, because the thing is this, he pushed himself to extreme limits compared to all the other ones. And I'm not saying the other gentlemen out there were bad bodybuilders or anything like that, but he was an extremist, but he had a goal. He had a vision. But he would do cardio every other day. He would even do it. There's even pictures of him doing it where he literally is probably in his underwear,
mm-hmm.
and it's 30 degrees outside, cold, and he just has a big old exercise bathrobe on, and he's doing his cardio out there. Wherever he's running, I don't know if it was LA or what, where he's at, he was doing that.
Yeah, he was out there.
Right, but he was, to me that is simpler. It's like it's enough warmth to get you in there, but then it lets you move. Sweats, you could do the same thing, but sweats are so, I don't know how I can say, clinging to the body. So that's why through the years they've made spandex and all these other suits that will hold the sweat in, but not hold it too much to overheat you and different things. And But when it comes to cardio is a must. Believe it or not, cardio is a must. Okay, if someone just wants to exercise, they're better off doing cardio than. Now, weightlifting is great too. It's hard to say. To me, it's like a yin yang, like you were saying. I agree with you on that, because one will benefit from the other, just like the other one will benefit from the other. Because you build your muscles bigger and stronger, they can withstand more punishment, whether you're doing running, like you're a marathon runner or whatever you're doing, all that, or whether you're lifting heavy weights or whether you're a mechanic lifting something, whatever. But the core is the main thing. And then, and here's another thing too, getting back to some of the basics. Your core is your fundamental. If you don't have a good core, you're not going to have proper form. You're not going to have proper breathing technique and everything else. That's why cardio is very important.
And let me throw a percentage out there, Mike. What would you say? Because I've heard different percentages, but what would you say as far as eating well, diets, and exercising? If you're looking to achieve maybe weight loss, what percentage would you say you'd shoot for dieting, and then as far as exercising, importance of both?
Well, to me, whether you're bodybuilding or you're competing for a contest, which that's even stricter restrictions, or more drastic, as you would say. To me, okay, if the average person wants to lose weight, 70% of it's diet. 70%. Well, what I'm saying is, you could probably not even lift a weight or run, and you just walk every day, and you decrease your calorie intake from the bad calories and put good nutritional food in you, balanced diet that's nutritional for you, and you probably wouldn't have to exercise. But the average person doesn't do that. No offense, the average person's human. We get lazy, we get slack, we just don't. So I'd say it's a 70-30, 70% diet, 30% exercising. Well, whether you're wanting to build some more muscle, or you're wanting to lose some weight, or you want to, because diet's everything, man.
That's true, man. And then with COVID hitting right now, man, how have you adjusted? I guess things have loosened up and you were able to hit the gym again, but during, I guess when we were in quarantine and lockdown, how did you modify your regimen or your exercise, or did you even at all, or what did that look like?
Well, this is a sad thing. I've been contemplating on going back to the gym because I need to go back to the gym. My whole thing is for COVID. For one, I'm a field mechanic, so I was always out with the machines and not around people, so that was a great thing. So I'm not more susceptible to get it.
Yeah.
The machine ain't going to give me COVID. The only thing the machine's going to give me is, if I cut my finger and it's rusted, man, I better have my tetanus shot up today. They might jack me on that, but And then, it might make me mad or two when a bolt doesn't want to come off, so you see this mad mechanic beating the side of the machine, just going crazy.
Yeah,
but
put the torch to the bolt.
Put the torch to the bolt, kind of put to half of the frame and be like, I got you now. And then you start thinking, oh, shoot, I got to repair that because, they're going to take that out of my pay. Oh, well. So, getting back to exercise, I will say this. I started trying to change up my diet because I'm a fat ass right now, people. I should be able to say that. I ain't trying to
I don't think so, man. You look like a bodybuilder, man.
No.
Somebody take a look at you. It looks like you came out of Gold's Gym or something.
No. I was a bodybuilder, but see, I do the sucking gape method now because I'm old. So when people are around, I'm sucking, and then when they're looking away, I'm like, oh, and then there goes that big old belly.
This guy.
I got belly, man. Let me tell you.
There you go.
I wish I was like Stallone. Stallone's the only one that's 73 and doesn't have a belly. He's got a six-pack 24/7, 365 days a year, and everything else. But no, but one thing I did do, but I mean, I have property that I work on, so to get, like, I guess condition myself so I'm not at the gym, I started doing push-ups and sit-ups, which really more crunches, because sit-ups really is, even though the military will still say you got to do 60 sit-ups or whatever in a minute and da-da-da-da, sit-ups really to me is hard for the body. It's really no good. If you're going to do something, you do a crunch. And that's you just thinking and concentrating on your abdominal muscles and, you know, having your hands behind your neck, you're bending your neck and trying to touch it. The sit-ups are just, there's other ways you can do it now. And they've seen that through the years. But to me, sit-ups, push-ups, tries, chest, and then what I would do, since I have property and I work on the property, you know, I started moving big rocks and everything and loading them in the wheelbarrow and manually taking them instead of taking my trailer with the little lawnmower deal and, you know, towing it around to the back 40 of the property, you know.
Gotcha. Hey, Mike,
So, I mean,
real quick,
just things like that.
real quick, going back to the eating and stuff. What's your take on like all this, like the whey protein, vitamins? I mean, be quite honest, I've been getting into it. I like it. I like going to that section of Walmart, going to GNC, you know, looking to see different things to explore, to take, to because I mean, I'm not a bodybuilder, but I like working out, and going into those parts of Walmart or GNC, I feel like I am a bodybuilder in some way, but even it's far from that. But I mean, going back to that, the whey protein stuff, the vitamins, the supplements, all that stuff. What is your take on that, and how do you feel about that? Do you think it's important, or do you think like the way you said, just like eating and working out? 'Cause I feel that maybe you think those two things, eating and working out, are most important, but when people like look up to like the other things like the whey protein and stuff, it's kind of like secondary. Do you feel that way, or what do you think?
Well, I mean, to me, it's important for protein. Okay, but, well, here's the thing. Let me ask you this question, so we're not like trying to go on into 15 different directions. Are we going to talk about what people should maintain as in just a healthy lifestyle, and they're not trying to build more muscle and compete, or forget the competing, they're just not trying to get bigger or build more muscle, or they're just trying to maintain?
I would say like a person like me who started working out like a month straight, and you know that's exploring like the whey protein and all that stuff. Do you think it's do you think I should stick, a person like me should stick to it, or is it just something just secondary, like that's not really important?
No, well, I mean, to me, protein's everything. But I've come through the years. I mean, here's the first thing I'm going to say. When it comes to consuming protein, in my opinion, it depends on everybody's system. You know, everybody's genetically made different. It's just like we have 8 blood types, right? Mm-hmm. You know, I found out mine was B negative, which they said only 1 or 2% of the whole world has it.
Damn.
What I'm saying is, there's something to remember when they're consuming this protein, getting on the protein deal. It all matters on their chemistry of how they are and how much they exercise and utilize it. Because you can consume all the protein in the world and not exercise, and it'd be bad for you because your kidneys are going to be like, man, I can't process this, my liver can't process this, and all this. You know, a lot of people don't. But it's good to have protein is what I'm getting at. To me, like the average woman, she doesn't consume enough grams of protein. A lot of people will say, 30 to 40 grams a day. That's not enough. To me, the average woman, wherever structure she is, 80 grams of protein a day is good for her. And if it seems like it's too much for her, then she can cut down a bit. But that's not overly excessing as in overly taxing your kidneys and your liver and everything else. But here's another thing. The whey protein, there's nothing wrong with that. There's so many kinds of proteins out there now, but I will say this. A good protein, I mean, to me, you could have one shake, if not, depending on your exercise level and your activity level and your age probably too. Because see, there's all kinds of factors, gentlemen, that come into play. When you get older, your calorie intake is different, everything's different. It really is. It just slows down. I mean, and I can contest because I'm almost 50, so, it slows down. But what I'm saying is protein is important because that's the main protein and amino acids. So if you're consuming amino acids and creatine and different things, protein and amino acids are the building blocks for building muscle, naturally. And drug-wise, too. If we're so whether the person's doing drugs or the person's not doing drugs, you got to have protein. So that's the main building block for muscle. So, and protein, here's the thing. Protein's vital for your brain. It's vital for your organs and everything else. Because remember, you're only made up of 70% water. And the rest are organs, blood tissue, and all that. But remember, they're all inflated with water, and and that's how they work. But I mean, so here's another thing. Getting back on the protein thing, you have protein, you better increase your water intake a lot more too. Help your kidneys flush things out, and because that's a real important. But yes, protein to me is very important. It's just like creatine is important for building up muscle. The main way you get creatine naturally is through red meat. But you can go to the store, GNC store, and then you can, get a supplement with creatine. And that's a good form that you can do it too. You just got to make sure you don't overdo it. Some of these guys think, every day. I mean, I'll be honest. I've seen more gains and more things with your body working if you let the stuff work with your body instead of just shove it. Everybody thinks more is better, and it's not.
That's a good point because I mean I've had friends that are vegans or vegetarians that take that to supplement it, obviously because they can't eat meat, and even like these like athletes, and I'm not sure if you know this guy. He's one of those free soloing rock climbers, Alex Honnold, where he's on a strict vegetarian diet and he takes all these supplements in order to kind of keep up and be able to do what he's doing out there, climbing these 1,000-foot walls up in Yosemite and everything. But that's a good point because I think people sometimes forget that it's kind of a set science. A lot of people are like, "Oh, why don't I lose weight?" or "Why am I not fit? I'm doing all this," but they don't realize it is kind of a set science. You just have to figure out, like you said, your body type and see what you respond to, and make a plan after that. But that's a good point. And I want to bring it back to something a little bit that we want to find out because it's something that as soon as you said it, I'm like, yes, he said it. Let's introduce it. Arnold Schwarzenegger. Are you a fan, yes or no, of his movies? How about that?
Yes.
All right. So let me give us the top three. What are your top three Arnold Schwarzenegger movies?
Predator's one of them.
Hey, 1987. That is my favorite movie. All right, that's one.
I mean, and don't get me wrong, on the Predator franchise.
Yeah.
I like all the Predator movies because the Predator against Alien. I like them all, and some are cheesier than others.
Yeah. But
to me, what I'm saying is the way the guy who directed that movie was phenomenal. I'm not saying these other directors.
So there you have it, you guys. Mike the Croc Guy, very nice guy, very knowledgeable once again on fitness and bodybuilding and ways to eat and build stamina and build muscle. Like I said, I've known him for a while. Very nice guy. You take a look at him, looks like a bodybuilder. Guy's huge, got huge arms. He talks like a bodybuilder, but at the same time, he's very articulate and stuff like that. Like I said, this is the first episode in a while that we decided to release. And be the first installment. We'll have Mike on here again. He's our lead fitness guy. So if anything, we're gonna have him on more about any questions regarding anything related to fitness or later in time. His specialty is crocodiles. That's what he's into. That's what we'll dive into. And if I decide to release the second installment. But like always, guys, happy October. It's good to be back. And once again, Somewhere Out There Podcast.